Welcome to the news. Yeah, so this is the type of a sound that you might make if you're developing yourself into a little bit of a animal that you're developing, like a spirit animal that you're developing, but at the same time it's like an unknown animal. It's very unique. It's unknown. It is a strange creature. Yeah, so what we're talking about today is doing a little bit of a ritual on yourself that ultimately is corresponding to something that is like shaking out the inside of yourself, almost like making yourself like a piñata. So that's why it's like a little bit of a fake animal, because it's like a animal where, in essence, like you're developing yourself into a character for this episode where it's like a visualization, in essence, and you're trying to go within yourself and be able to cleanse the inside similar to a piñata. So you're making yourself into a piñata, and you're making yourself into a weird creature that can be anything of a piñata, and you can make that crazy creature whatever, it's sort of an artifact that might represent who you might be in terms of the items that are inside of yourself that you want to get out of yourself, whatever those pests look like, whatever that toxicity looks like, whatever the items that look like inside of yourself that are like strange creatures, that are like weird toxicity that you want to bash, that you want to get out of yourself, that you want to destroy, that you want to have exit your system, in essence, like whatever that creature is, whatever that critter is, you make that little item into like a piñata. And that little strange sound to begin this podcast was that little strange creature that we're making into a piñata right now. We're developing a piñata. So in essence, what we want to try to do is like also, this is kind of like developing a little bit of a process and a ceremony that you have with yourself. It's a cleansing process. It's a cleansing ceremony, in essence, which is corresponding to a medical process. It's actually like a visualization process that ultimately is similar to like a medical process where we're trying to leverage and use the items corresponding to developing frequencies that are like healthy, positive frequencies to be able to try to get through this episode and this exercise, to be able to have it be something similar of a procedure, in essence, that you would go to a doctor for typically. But typically doctors use tools and they try to do invasive processes that go within the body and within aspects of the actual undertones inside of the skin. They go inside of that, in that route, in essence. But for this podcast episode, what we're trying to do is something that is similar to what that doctors do, something similar to what certain procedures of that nature are related to. But in essence, we're doing this completely with vibrations. We're doing this completely with frequencies. We're doing this completely to cleanse toxicity. We're doing this completely to cleanse toxins, and also to go from cleansing toxins all the way up to being able to connect with money, energy, frequency. So it's kind of like developing frequency as like a medicine, more or less, to be able to not only cleanse toxicity and develop a medical process within this podcast by developing something of a procedure that you're able to perform on yourself using frequency to be able to zap out toxicity, in essence. Through this procedure, we're also elevating the frequency and letting the frequency be a cleansing feature that, in essence, goes through the self and through the body to be able to take out this toxicity through a specific targeting mechanism, and then at the same time elevate that frequency all the way up, because once we've cleansed the frequency, then it has the ability to be able to rise up to other frequencies known as money, energy, frequency. Yeah. So in essence, we want to raise our frequency to a higher vibration, because this is actually like a medical process. This actually corresponds to being in line with a certain element of asset energy. This ultimately corresponds with where the monetary energy frequency is sort of flying and lying up in the sky, more or less. It's like a flying energy, kind of somewhat. It's like a money energy, monetary energy is like flying in the sky. That's like a certain frequency, in essence. And to be able to try to align with that, it's necessary to acknowledge the first step of what this ceremony and what this process and what this procedure entails. In essence, what it kind of corresponds to a little bit is by being able to try to cleanse this toxicity with a certain specific exercise that helps to align with frequencies within the body and then frequencies within the external world of outside existence with other people. And it's actually very simple. It's a very simple process where we're able to use this frequency mechanism to be able to try to acknowledge and increase and elevate frequencies, more or less, by being able to identify and use the frequencies that we're talking about by using these medical frequencies, more or less. It's like a ray gun, more or less like a laser gun, kind of like a ray gun that's a frequency gun, kind of somewhat, but not really. It's more like a cleansing green energy gun it's not sourcing from a gun at all. It's just sourcing from like layers of frequencies that are out in the atmosphere already, just lying and flying around everywhere in the essence of nature to begin with. And so in essence, what we want to try to do is align with the frequencies inside of the mind. inside of an individual to cleanse the self. We're in essence going to try to be able to triangulate and connect with the frequencies of all existing connectivity of humanity to begin with, and that starts with the ground level. Remember that monetary energy is up in the air. Monetary energy, money energy is up in the air. It's floating. It's above ground. It's flying a little bit in essence. So to be able to raise the frequency, to be able to raise on a similar level to that money energy frequency up in the sky a little bit at a time, it's necessary to be able to identify how to develop the mechanism of the human body to be able to levitate and elevate a little bit more so than where it is at the current time, more or less. And so ultimately there's sort of an organic essence of toxicity that exists within other humans and all humans sometimes, somewhat, depending upon circumstances in terms of growing up, in terms of like ultimately aspects of culture in essence, where there's an element of toxicity which happens to do with somewhat of like eroding processes within the human systems that come from toxicity that ultimately correspond from things that are not true, things that come from false motion, false instances of energy, false energy, meaning that in essence it's like it's not true energy. So that's what stops energy in essence, things that are not true and trying to correspond to essences of non-truths to be able to play out certain non-truths, because that in essence corresponds to other humans and other frequencies connecting to other humans, and that in essence can stop the pipeline of growth to be able to make a vehicle that has the ability to travel up to money energy frequency, more or less. So in essence, this exercise, this is like kind of performing like a medical proceeding in essence. It's like a ritual, more or less, that it's cleansing the essence of the human body with like a piñata as a depiction. So in essence, it's like kind of a dual purpose, like having an energy that cleanses a human body by getting rid of lies and getting rid of lying in essence, just pushing out all the lies, all the lying, and anything that causes lying in essence. That is the frequency purifying exercise for today in essence. And it's like a medical procedure at the same time, because elevating a medical frequency of a human soul and a vibration that's closer to the essence of a greater frequency up in the air that corresponds to other people that are up in the air that correspond to monetary energy, money energy, and other people that have the discipline that corresponds to the activities and the exercises that are necessary to develop money energy. It's like a cleansing exercise that is actually like a medical exercise that starts from within. It starts from within a person to be able to cleanse that energy, clean it all out from lies and lying, because lying energy, and untruth energy and telling other people anything that's not true corresponds to a frequency that stops. It stops the frequency, so the frequency does not have the ability to grow and go and have the ability to move and make the motions necessary to be able to escalate into a different direction, where escalation is a necessity for being able to progress and make progressive progressions towards the essence of escalation in a momentary and minute by minute and minuscule process, piece by piece at a time, more or less. And that energy needs that ability to be able to take those small steps at a time, to be able to try to escalate bits by bits upon bits, to be able to add value to themselves and grow upon themselves and compound on themselves. So those energies have the ability to develop stairways and stepping stairs to go upwards, so that energy can elevate and escalate in a frequency sense similar to an escalator. Whoa, but a slow escalator. Whoa, sometimes, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, what we want to do is to develop both of these. We want to develop a two-sided mechanism, more or less, where we have the doctor visit and we're pretending to be on a doctor table, more or less, and having a completely non-process that has anything to do with being impeding on any interpersonal feelings or interpersonal space, being invasive at all. It's nothing like that. It's completely the opposite. So we want to be like pretending to be with a doctor, and he just kind of engorges you with this green gel, more or less a green gel, and he completely engorges you with a green gel that more or less covers your whole body, but it's floating on the outside of your body, and that's the green gel that is meant to go inside of you, that's asset energy that goes inside of you, that is meant to cleanse all of the lying, all of the unnecessary lying, and all of the unnecessary untruths, even things that are annoying to yourself about yourself, but just owning those things, because it doesn't necessarily matter, because everybody in the whole world is different, and it doesn't necessarily matter because everybody can grow from wherever they're at to be able to try to add value to certain aspects of themselves upon moving forward in time and just adding value piece by piece. So ultimately, at the same time as we've cleansed the whole body of all lies, at the same time we've cleansed the whole body of lies, what we also want to do is be able to try to identify that, in essence, we are smacking the piñata, which is the form of the bug, which is also the bug that is lying bug. It's whatever that toxicity creature is that you've developed, that form, and you want to hit the piñata, so it falls open and it cracks open, in essence. So all of the things that come out from inside, they turn into positivity things, and they come out as candy. So in essence, candy's not that good for you anyways. It's not good to consume, in essence, because it's full of sugar, and that's not very healthy, and that's not necessarily an asset energy. So you get rid of all the sugar candies and get rid of all the non-asset liability type of aspects of yourself that comes out of it, and pretend those are candies, and pretend you don't like candies, and pretend you're not going to eat the candies because candies are not good for you. But so yeah, we're letting go of all the liabilities. We're letting go of that liability feeling, and at the same time, we're going back to the doctor's table, and we're having that green gel be able to just surround us and stay around us forever, because that green gel is to be able to hold you into that place of truth, that place of truth serum, that place of connecting with asset energy, to be able to continue to stay in an asset mindset, to be able to continue to stay inside of an asset mind frame, where in essence you're able to take that asset mind frame and you're able to add value to yourself on an ongoing basis, and you're able to cleanse your energy once and for all, because there are no lies. There's only continuous ongoing motion, where the continuous energy is able to continue to ping and pling off of different people that you need to try to elevate your own frequency, which is a medical process and medical procedure. Once your frequency has the ability, because that toxicity is let loose, once it has the ability to float upwards, then it has the ability to be able to find other asset energies. Once it is cleansed and it has the ability to connect to other asset energy, then in essence, then you can start the process for starting to do the search for other asset energies, and you find other asset energies, and you start to look for, and you start to hunt for, and you start to research for other asset energies to be able to start to cleanse yourself, cleanse your networks, cleanse people that you know, cleanse people that you've been talking to. You have to cleanse your whole process, cleanse your whole network, get out of it, change your processes so there's no necessity, no need to lie, and you avoid people that you've ever had to lie to, ever felt the need to lie to, because you want to find clean energy, and you want to start to only find clean energy, and then you want to start to develop little processes to increase your value, to be able to increase your process of trying to create value, so that ultimately you can start to be around other people that resonate money, and you start to spend your time just with people that resonate money, and you spend your time playing sports and going and playing activities that are fun with people, like joining groups where you have fun with people that make money. You join groups with people that make money, and start to be around people and share in fun activities with people that make money. So you start to play, in essence, with people that make money, and then you start to try to develop residual energy with people that make money, in essence. Once you've cleansed yourself, once you've cleansed your truth, you've owned all your truths, you've owned all your shortcomings, and you start to try to add value to those shortcomings every single day. Every single day, try to add a little bit of value to your shortcomings. If you think you need to add value in certain ways, you own it either way. You talk to people about it, and you try to identify with it so that other people can try to help you at the same time to be able to grow from that. And you turn that toxicity energy, and then you start to grow, and then you start to levitate and elevate that frequency energy to be able to, just like a medical process, a medical procedure that in essence started with a medical procedure, because you're actually exerting and exiting all of those toxins and that toxicity by just exiting with that one form of just exiting all lies and any temptations to lie through the abilities to find vessels that only offer asset energy, and you only allow asset energy into your life, and that's it. And you barricade yourself from doing anything other than being around asset energy. You can step out of your asset energy bubble to sometimes help other people, and then you get back into your asset energy bubble. More or less, it's green energy that surrounds you forever, because you have to stay in this mindset to be able to continue to elevate, continue piece by piece to elevate that energy up to money energy, to be able to resonate with money energy. And sometimes you have to help people along the way, and you step out of the bubble, and if they're in a bad place, you kind of transition your energy, and you have to tune into that, and you try to help people as best as possible on a day-to-day basis. If you come across them, it's possible. And then you go back into your energy bubble, and you try to continue to resonate with that frequency that connects with money energy. So this is kind of like a half proceeding that's like a doctor medical proceeding in the beginning, where we're exiting all of the negativity and the toxicity. In essence, it's a proceeding, it's a process, it's a procedure, it's a visualization process. It's non-invasive, obviously. It's non-impeding, it's non-impersonal, it's non-negative process. And in essence, you have the ability to do it all at once, but it's very much medical, because you're elevating your frequency at the same time. You're elevating your frequency, and that is a medical thing. When your frequency is elevated, when you're not bogged down by that toxicity, your frequency is elevated above the essence of lying, of that corrosion, of that corrosive activity. In essence, your frequency, it elevates, and it cleanses the soul, it cleanses the mindset, it cleanses all of those things, and that track is meant to be able to continue onwards up until money. So not only is it like an extraction process, where in essence you're extracting acting like a medical process, but you're also elevating at the same time your frequency. So your frequency and the proceedings and the procedure with the doctor, this fake doctor in this podcast, in essence, cleanses the energy just like that without actually needing to do anything outside of elevating the frequency. And by elevating the frequency, you increase yourself and your persona and your spirit into a new level and a new paradigm of existence, more or less. And you continue to add value, to continue to step up into new paradigms, stepping upwards by connecting with only asset energies. By once you have the framework to be able to float up enough because you're light enough, because you've let go of all the toxicity, owned all of your shortcomings, and not given a crap about them, and just moved on because you can add value to them, because other people are empathetic in the world, and other people, especially money energy people, are empathetic, and they can help you add value to your own problems and issues and the way you see yourself at the same time, and try to continue to add value to that. And you continue to play with these people. You play games with these people that are asset energy people, and you vet these people. You're able to look into these people before you start to play games with them. You start to look into people. You start to do research with the type of games and the circles that you want to play in essence, because in essence, you want to make sure that it's clean energy, that it's good energy, that it's viable energy, that they have competence, that they're also integrity, that they have a lot of integrity in these circles. And you want to vet this integrity. You want to make sure that this integrity has a reputation, and you'll be able to research this integrity, because this integrity has a core connection to your ability to be able to add value to this asset energy, because you're adding value with your truth and your research, because you're continuing to research value, and you continue to bring value into the group, because ultimately money energy corresponds to and thrives from value energy. It's value energy. It's not about other money, having other money around. It's value. It's being able to do research, to add value by doing research, and finding new ways to add value by doing research, consistent research. So you do research to be able to find out who these entrepreneur people that or investing, whatever people that you could possibly be around, to be able to share in monetary energy and elevate your energy to monetary energy. But then also you're adding value to these people, and you need to add value to these people at the same time by doing research to how to continue to add value, because that is in essence the corresponding top layer type of conversation. Fuel is a value conversation, more or less, to be able to continue to increase the continuous frequency into money energy, and then continually, as everybody's able to continue to expand on everybody's value and add value to everybody's value, and continue to add value for everybody in the whole world, all 8 billion people, to go up into the air, then that can compose the global philanthropy energy grid, because everybody in the world can then be interested in just solving everybody else's problems for all 8 billion other people on the planet, to solve all 8 billion other people's problems on the planet. Alright, thanks again, bye for now, Diggy Tech, bye, peace, bye. Sorry the ritual went a little long. Ding Tech, change for games. Ding Tech, change for game studios. Bye, peace, bye.